topic for many people. I would have to say it includes myself because I was adopted. However, this is a topic that I've been thinking about and have heard about for many years. So it is something that is not new to me by any means. But still, there's a lot here to unpack, and I'll put the link to the video down below because it's just one of many, and if you look, you will find a lot of stuff. I will not be talking about statistics, but I will say that it does matter when people jump to rape and children who are born of rape, because that is basically jumping to the worst part about abortion and using it as a main talking point. There's a lot of implications, and there's a lot that usually goes wrong when people jump straight to the worst. The worst part, or the worst point. And this is not even bringing up the fact that there are many points that are usually missed when people jump straight to the worst part. There's a lot that gets missed or is ignored, unfortunately. But as for me, I want to say that while I am grateful to be alive, I want to say it took me years to get to this point, struggling with depression and the issues that I had when I was adopted when I was just past 4. Unfortunately, I brought a lot of issues with me into my adopted family, so I want to say that 2 wrongs don't make a right, and abortion itself is a permanent means of getting rid of issues and problems and all of that, regardless of where these kids come from. It's a final solution, so to speak. However, there are repercussions to each and every action and decision that is made and taken, unfortunately. The consequences exist. And as far as what other people value and what they look at, it plays a big part, along with any sort of personal history, for any of these major decisions that are involved. The Bible, I want to say, makes it clear that people have a value because of who they are made in the image of and where they come from. And having value is a good incentive to, I guess, stick it out and to make things work as best as possible, just because it's beyond personal. It's not just simply something that you're not going off of feelings. You're going off of something that is more concrete and solid. There's a lot here, and you're not just simply going off of things that are likely to change, if that makes sense. Feelings change. So when people make decisions off of feelings, like the decisions and choices that actually matter, the ones that will stick with you for the rest of your life, being made off of feelings, there's going to be some serious consequences and regrets there that you're going to have to live with and deal with, unfortunately. In a way, it's just as permanent as moving to another country, picking up and packing and closing down shop and just so you can move. It's permanent in that sense. But what you're talking about is a life. You're not talking about locations. So locations can change, but lives end, if that makes sense. I'm trying to relate the permanence of abortion and all that. I want to say that there is value in life itself, even if some of these people choose to be the worst of the worst. Babies don't make these choices. Their value is inherent with them. And I want to say that where I stand on the issue is that I guess I'm thankful no matter what happens. As far as where I'm at, I'm not pro-abortion or against it. But I do want to say that I want people to think before they come to a conclusion, because abortion itself is a tool. It's a permanent tool. And one of the best indicators there is that scalpels and other surgical instruments, they are used to cut out cancer just as they are used to end lives. Maybe not specifically with babies, but the thing is, knives are tools per se. You can do a lot with them. And I view abortion very much the same way. However, righting a wrong with another wrong does not improve anything or make things any better, which is pretty much the aspect that many people argue about, or, rather for abortion. It gets tricky there, because you're not standing on something very solid, per se. That's just the way I take it anyway. Let me see here. Alright, I am pulling up right now in front of my house, and I am parking. So at least I can focus more on this. I was listening to something driving back, and I just need to stop and talk because this is important. When it comes to abortion, I already talked about value, I already covered that. But I want to say that if you can calm down and sort through your emotions and all of that, basically categorize everything, you can better understand where you are at when you approach this topic and anything else that is deep, personal, and painful. Because if you don't get an abortion, and this is coming from the assumption that there's a baby that you have to deal with. If you don't get abortion, what exactly are you able to do? Can you give it up for adoption? Can you actually take care of it and have it be part of your family? Babies have a cost that comes with them, both to bring into this world and to be a part of your family, but also to unfortunately get rid of. And the fact that some of these places, and I can't specify on how many or which ones because I just don't know, but baby parts are useful and used in some parts of the industries out there. I've heard of things, I've seen things, and I don't like any of it. I don't really want to talk about it, but I do have to mention the fact that baby parts bring in money. It's not a topic that is loved, but I want to say, if you're purely trying to make money, that is definitely wrong. But in the medical field, there is a lot more to discuss as far as with what babies can help out with, per se. However, that does not mean they're necessarily killing off babies just to harvest. I'm not saying that at all, but I do want to say that all of this does actually exist. So, if you can't deal with the baby, what are your options left? But on the flip side, for those who do not have a moral obligation, they do not view this in a way where it's like their responsibility that they have to deal with, the answer is usually very simple. So, I guess in all of this, if you can find out where you stand on all this, so you can keep things simple, it's going to be very, what's the word I'm looking for here? You're going to set yourself up for success, because you're not going to have to worry or struggle through any of this stuff, because you're already going to know where you're at. But I would have to say that questioning where you stand once or twice is usually a good thing, just in case you're off or you're wrong. it's very rare to go through life never actually changing or updating anything, and that does show, both when you make mistakes and when you're right. Abortion isn't about being right. It's about what choices that are there and what kind of a sacrifice you're going to be making. Because babies require sacrifices of some kind. And that's the truth. Now, if you do not have the capacity to love or to take care of kids, well, let's just say you should think about it before you ever get into that position to begin with. But some people, many people, they don't take this into account. It's not ever a part of their plan. So babies pop along when they're not ever planned for, if that makes sense. I want to say, though, it's very hard to look at abortion outside of any sort of right or wrong. Many people want to go the route of, well, it's her body, her choice to whether or not to carry the kid. If that's the case, I'm not disagreeing with that, and I will never disagree with that, but I will say that her decision goes up to the point of whether or not she can and whether or not she should contemplate having the baby removed from her and being killed off. And I'm not talking about I'm talking about having the baby being aborted per se, not just simply having a C-section remove the baby. There are other ways to do so. So this is not a topic I really want to talk about, but I want to say that this is a very good topic. In the church itself, how this relates to the church in general is the fact that people have value because they're made in the image of God. That's the first one. That's where value. That's where human. That's where I'm saying this all wrong. I'm sorry. I know it's late. People have value because of the image that we're made in. And lastly, there are no right choices to make here. There are the best choices that you can make, which do require sacrifice. And there are self-centered choices to make. The church itself will always opt for the morally right one, the one with the sacrifice, whether they like it as a whole or not. Because life is valuable. And when you take that value away, there's a part of humanity that you're throwing away. It's quite possible you'll never get that back either. Once you throw that away, it's quite possible that it's gone permanently. Everything leaves a mark. Everything has a consequence, and there will always be reactions to what you say and do. Alright. Until next time.